More than 4,500 houses have been destroyed. More than 500 educational institutions were destroyed. Almost 100 of them are beyond repair. 261 healthcare facilities were damaged. 13 hospitals are ruined down to pieces. And thousands more civilian victims. This is what the Russian world looks like. The International Criminal Court in The Hague has already launched an investigation into Russian war crimes against Ukraine. Two aspects are considered. The first is the invasion of an independent state itself. The second is the violation of the rules of war. For this, the occupiers will answer to both the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice. The latter has already ruled on the case of Russia's war against Ukraine, obliged Moscow to immediately stop the invasion.
Sure that anyone who commits war crimes in Ukraine is held to account, and the commanders on the ground, those that may be receiving illegal orders as well as those in the Kremlin, need to know that right now.
The Prosecutor General Office of Ukraine has already opened 3,500 criminal proceedings against the Russian military. Among the crimes, murder of the citizens, mass violence, child abuse, torture, as well as the use of prohibited weapons. According to the UN, Russian troops used cluster munitions 24 times in Ukraine. We have evidence from the Odessa region, we have evidence from the Kherson region, where cluster bombs and cluster munition are used directly. We have some information about the use of other prohibited weapons. In the temporarily occupied territories, the Russians rob Ukrainian houses and rape women. The Times published an article titled "Russian Soldiers Raped Me While My Terrified Son Was Crying." We are talking about a resident of the village Shevchenkovo, Brovary district. The publication notes that this may be the first case to be considered by the International War Crimes Tribunal in Ukraine. A younger guy put a gun to my head and said, "I shot your husband because he is a Nazi." Then they both raped me one after the other. They didn't care that my son was crying in the boiler room. Such cases will be qualified as crimes against humanity. They also include deportation, forced displacement of the population, and this is what the Russians are doing now. Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine Irina Vereshchuk said that 40,000 people were deported of Mariupol. This was also confirmed by President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Russia took to its territory, simply deported by force, as the Nazis did in the occupied countries. Thousands of Ukrainian children, tens of thousands of adults were forcibly transported to the territory of the occupying state. Unfortunately, we do not know anything about the fate of most of them.
The Russian army also systematically destroys the cultural monuments of Ukraine, and due to careless handling of critical civilian infrastructure, an environmental catastrophe is possible. We also see environmental crimes, for example, the dam of the Kyiv Sea. There are several villages in which this system was violated, and then they were flooded. Cultural and religious institutions systematically destroyed. Museums, theaters, Popov's estate, our historical churches, architectural monuments. To confirm all the crimes of the Russian army before the international courts, evidence is collected by volunteer organizations and government agencies. Criminal proceedings on the military atrocities of the Russians have been already opened by 9 countries, including Estonia, Lithuania, Germany, Poland, and Sweden. In order for the perpetrators to really be punished, Russia must extradite them to international courts. But as long as the political system in the Federation is unchanged, this is unlikely, experts say. Reported by Olena Shustova, Victoria Ilchuk, UATV News.